Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show will revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Moosie Drier and Jonathan Rosen.
Welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Moosie Drier, and today we are thrilled to welcome someone who has been honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She's been in movies such as Hysteria and Mother's Day, and she starred as one of the longest-running characters on an American soap, where she's played Esther Valentine since 1982. Please help us welcome Kate Linder. Kate, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Jonathan and Moosie. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well,
I'm still going on Y&R, so that's a good thing.
we do a lot to cover for that, but I want to start by going back with you. So I was reading you were born in Pasadena. Was anyone in your family, encouraging of the arts, and when did you first start showing an interest in it?
Well, my parents gave me, dance lessons right when I was around 3 or 4. I think they saw one day I was dancing in front of the TV or something. They started me with that. I had piano lessons, and they were, of course, very encouraging, and so that was good. But there wasn't anyone in my family that was in the business. So, and back then, of course, it was very different. So it was extremely difficult, and I always wanted to be an actress. I told them that I never wanted to be anything else that little girls want, like mothers, teachers, nurses, flight attendants. I just wanted to be an actress. And so they didn't know what they figured. They thought, well, it's a hard business, and they were supportive for sure.
Yeah. Kate, hello.
Hey, Moosie. Hi, Moosie.
Hey there. Oh my gosh, thank you for doing this. Thank you. You knew you wanted to be an actress? What performances in maybe high school or something did you do?
Oh, I did. I was in Sweet Charity. I did a lot of musicals. I played Anne in Anne Frank. I was in Our Town, Emily in Our Town. I was in Gypsy. I love musicals. That's my favorite thing.
Who were your influences? What films and movie stars did you marvel over when you were dreaming of being an actress?
Oh, well, I always liked Shirley MacLaine. And I just, my parents took me to films, and they were big, and theater. They were big. They always went to the theater. So I'm sure that had a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things you just mentioned a few minutes ago, which I find fascinating, is shortly after college, you took a job as a flight attendant. And that's the last thing I read. You were still doing it?
I am.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I fly for United Airlines. And, in this business, being on Young and the Restless for 43 years and counting, I have to say the counting part, I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've seen a lot of people believe their own press. One day, you're serving coffee at 35,000 feet, and another day I'm on set, or then another day I'm here talking with you guys. And, as long as I can do both really well, then, I will keep doing that. And I've just had interesting experiences, interesting stories happen.
Yeah, how often are you recognized when you're doing this?
Really you? You work for United? Kate Linder? And she's like, yes. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know she worked for United.
One interesting, this was years ago, but this couple got on the airplane, and I was at the front, and his wife said, Esther, which is my character's name. Oh my God, it's Esther. And he pulled me aside. He said, I'll pay you $50 if you say it's not you. I said, what? He said, well, we were outside. She saw you, and she said that was you. And I said, there was no way. So I bet her $100 that wasn't you. I said, well, you're only paying me $50, so I'm telling. But I've just had great experiences like that. One day I was walking down the aisle. I saw this woman. She was reading this soap magazine, and and I saw that it was an article on me. It had just come out. I hadn't seen it. And so I was walking back and forth. She kept looking at me and then looked at the magazine, looked at me. I couldn't stand anymore. I said, oh, can I see that? Because I haven't seen it yet. She goes, oh, no. She said, is that you? And I went, are you that? I went, yeah. So, I just had great things happen, and it makes me really happy.
That's fantastic.
This is kind of funny. I had there were these people from Turkey on the flight one day, and the show is all over the world. So this guy said to me, you're my mother. And I said, I can't remember lots of things, but I think I would know that somehow. And he said, no, my mother does your voice in Turkey. So it was dubbed. Yeah, I did. So it
dubs your voice.
Yeah, it's just great things. Or a lot of times they won't say anything till they get off the plane. I've had that a lot. They said, you're just like this woman on Young and the Restless. I said, really? Because it's me.
Yeah.
Listen, oh my gosh, this is just unbelievable. When I found out, I'm so honored that I was receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I found out I was going to Denver and back, and we went to Denver and all the people were getting off, and I decided it was during the week. I usually fly on weekends, so I thought I should check my messages, and there was a message from Johnny Grant, who was the mayor of Hollywood. And and he was saying, congratulations. And I thought, what is he congratulating me for? Because we had just won the Emmy, so I thought that's what it was for. So anyways, he says, because this was it was a message, you, Kate Linder, are receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Well, of course, I couldn't believe it. I'm crying. This other flight attendant comes up to me and goes, what's wrong? And she thought someone died, And so I told her, and she goes, and then people are getting on the airplane, and I have to act professional, and she says, go over there. I'll take care of the people. And then the captain came out and he goes, what's going on? And they told him. So the way that people found out, the very first, was the captain announced it to the passengers after we took off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a story I haven't really told. And it's just the two professions, intertwined. It was unbelievable. And of course, at that time, I was wearing a maid uniform. And then I had my flight attendant uniform. So I was always wearing a uniform. Esther, my character, doesn't wear a uniform anymore. But at that time, she did.
You got this much deserved star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So what was the day? Like, I know you told us about Johnny Grant and that stuff. So, but you're there. How surreal is this?
On behalf of the Hollywood Chamber, as we honor one of Hollywood's most beloved soap stars for her achievements by placing a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame today, honoring Kate Linder.
Most of you know, she's never quit her day job as a stewardess for United Airlines. Congratulations, Kate, on your big day.
Well, the first message was from Johnny Grant. Kate Linder, you are receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I want you all to know that I am dedicating this star to William J. Bell and Johnny Grant.
We proudly welcome to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Kate Linder.
Really surreal. And in the middle of it, those tour buses go by, and I could hear the tour guy through the loudspeaker. The bus stopped, and I heard him saying to his passengers, all the tourists, he was saying, wow, you guys are really lucky because, Kate Linder is getting her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I was going, oh my, I couldn't believe that, things like that I still can't believe it. I have to go there periodically and make sure it's still there because I can't believe it's there in the first place. So
I've seen it.
Yeah, it was
I have. I've
really,
taken photos of it.
you're so sweet, Moosie. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it's something that I will never take it for granted. It's a true honor.
Such an honor. They don't just give those away. You deserved it.
Could you see that?
The what?
You're right in front. Your background is my star.
I know. I just put it up.
I know. Well, you're really good. That's really good. I love that.
When I talk about things, I'll throw it behind me, but it's really not that smart of me because I block it.
No, it's really cool. I
But
like how you guys do it. I like that Jonathan has the Young and the Restless, behind
Yeah.
him. I think it looks great. And I am in front of the Chancellor House. The
Yeah.
Chancellor set, in case people don't know. That's
So they
the
can go.
Chancellor set.
So one of your first jobs, Kate, was on Archie Bunker's place.
Yeah.
What was that
Wow.
like working with Carol O'Connor and doing
Well,
that show?
because I was like it was very, very small. I was in the background, so
But you're there.
But I was there, and
Yeah.
and believe me, I was excited to be there. I mean, I did things like in the beginning, like that show. Remember that? I don't know if you'll remember. It was so long ago. Real People.
Oh,
Do you
sure.
remember that
Sure,
show?
sure. Yeah, Sarah Purcell and
Yes.
yeah.
And so I had this line, you are watching Real People, and I got to say, stuff like that was one of the very first things I ever did. And then, Young and the Restless, of course, I was just hired for one day.
Yeah, but before there was one other show that I want to ask you, because I had been a big fan of the show, was Bay City Blues with Stephen
Oh,
Bochco.
yeah.
What was it like working? Because it was Michael Nuri, Dennis Franz, and Sharon Stone was even in it. So, what do you remember about that show?
That
Did
was
you get to see
so
Bochco?
great. I was like, yes, but once again, was very small. I played an attorney at a very small, little thing, but it was great to be there, to be involved in that. And you know what? There's this. Oh, I don't have it on. There's a ring that I wear all the time, and I'm gonna say I know you've seen it. And I remember when I got paid for Bay City Blues. I took that money, which I should never have done because I didn't have any money, and, and I bought this piece of jewelry with it. And so it's interesting that you brought that up because, that I always remember Bay City Blues, I wear.
Yeah. Okay, so eventually you got cast as Esther Valentine on The Young and the Restless.
Yeah.
So how did it come about? And what do you remember about the process of being put onto that show?
Well, okay, I went on a general interview, and this is interesting. Annie O'Donnell is a really great actress, and her, but she was on this committee at AFTRA before SAG and AFTRA merged, the two unions, and they set up people to meet, different casting directors, and so I somehow got this meeting with Tom Palmer, who was the casting director at the time of the show. And I went in and met with him, and I left him a tape of some of my work. And I went home and went, oh boy, you go, is this ever going to happen? Oh my goodness. And so his assistant, who was Jill Newton at the time, who ended up turning out to be later a casting director, but she called me and she said, Tom's finished with your tape and you can come and pick it up. I said, already? She said, yeah, it was really weird. She said, but after you left, and he never does this, but he walked right in and he looked at it. I said, oh, okay, well, I'll be down in a couple days, because I didn't live near there. And she said, okay. A couple days later, he calls me. He says, I have this role. He said, it's really, really small. If you blink, you're going to miss it. But he said, I'm looking for something else for you on the show. And that never happens either. If you do a small part like that, that's going to be it. You can't come back as something else. But he said that he was looking. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. And that was April 8th, 1982. It's my first day. Wow. And afterwards, when the producer, Scott walked out, I finished. Well, first of all, I have to tell you this part. So met Jeannie Cooper, who would be my boss there. And I went in and introduced myself to her, and I said, I'm playing your maid today. And she said, it's about time, as only she could say, if you know Mrs. Chancellor, Jeannie Cooper. And so that was my first line, was something my family never heard because it was dinner is served. That was my very first line. But when I finished work that day, was walking out, and Ed followed me out, and he said, are you available tomorrow? And I said, yeah, yeah, I am.
Mrs. Chancellor, dinner is served.
See, this is where it goes into being a flight attendant too, because it was this party scene, and I had to go around pouring wine and everything. And I knew how to twist the bottle, you know, how I should, you know, twist the bottle and things like that. So anyway, that happened. They started calling me in. My character didn't have a maid. I didn't have a name. On the scripts, it would say maid and everything. And one day, Jeannie Cooper, who played my boss, started, and in rehearsal, she was saying the lines that we were, you know, supposed to. But when we went to tape, she started calling me Esther. And I fortunately responded to that. And so then all other people, she was telling other people, call her Esther, call her Esther. So people started calling me Esther. And so then the writers picked up on that and started writing it. And then we had a national contest for the last name. And my boss was Bill Bell, who was the creator and owner, you know, of the show. And he's since passed away. He's an amazing man. And he came, you know, we had this contest. He picked several names out. I think one was Diamond, so it'll be Esther Diamond. One was Valentine, Esther Valentine. There was another couple names. And he said, which one do you want? And I picked Valentine because I was married on Valentine's Day, and I thought that would be good luck. So I was, you know, and at this time, this is interesting because at that time, comedy wasn't apparent on soaps. There was no comedy. But I knew I had to do something with this character because I didn't have any lines hardly. You know, I would open the door and come in and say, Mr. So-and-so is here to see you. I would do little things like in the script, it said Esther goes out and gets the mail. So I would, you know, look around, hold the envelope, look, you know, no one's there, put it in my pocket. None of that was in the script, stuff like that. But I would always do it during blocking, you know, so that they knew what I was doing. I didn't really.
Right. You know how in real life, like the makeup artist, hairdressers, the door guy in a building, like these kind of occupations, these people kind of know everything about people. You know, they're kind of fly on the wall. I feel like the maid is a great soap opera character. What a brilliant, you know, because you're just kind of whatever dusting, but you're taking it all in. If I were a detective, I'd go to the maid first.
And my character would be eavesdropping. She would always listen and do, you know, crazy things. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask if you were a fan of soap operas before you got onto the show.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I had watched other shows. I had not seen Young and the Restless, and my mother had seen it from day one. She had started watching it when it first started, and so she told me all about the show, you know. And so when I got on it, because, you know, they watched it, and then of course once I was on, my parents watched it. They taped it, watched it every single day. It's amazing. And now, you know, CBS has brought a new soap on called Beyond the Gates, which is great. I mean, I'm thrilled about that because it's fabulous for the genre. You can't tell me that soaps are dead when they're bringing on a brand new show.
Of course.
So, as long as we're still number one, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
So what was that like for you now? Because you had a couple of parts like we just talked about, but now you see yourself on TV all the time. You're a series regular. So how is that for you just to like now, hey, I'm on TV like all the time now?
Well, Jonathan, the thing is, you know, I've never taken it for granted because you can go upstairs one day and never come down. So I just, you know, of course, I love it. I love when people say, "Oh, I love your character," or "You make me feel good," or I do these. It's interesting when the pandemic started. I started doing these message Sunday. I call them Sunday messages, and they're on Sundays. I keep them about a minute long, and like this last Sunday, I did number 271. So I've never missed a Sunday. And I asked people, well, maybe I should quit doing this, people, and people going, no, people I didn't even know would watch them come up to me. And so, I mean, the show has afforded me the main thing too is I'm able to give back. I mean, I'm a celebrity spokesperson for ALS Network. I do stuff for lupus. I for the LA Mission, and so it makes me really happy that people want to see I can help that way, give back, and so that's really really important for me.
So you said you keep yourself grounded. So when did you feel like my life is changing, that I'm a series regular? When did you allow yourself to get to that moment that, hey, I think I've made it now?
Jonathan, I don't feel that way. That's what I mean. I mean, I feel very fortunate, and I am honored to be part of the Young and the Restless. It's the #1 show. It's an amazing show. But, I don't know what, because I call it working the program. I still go to class. My voice lessons. I'm a tap dancer. In fact, I was just there, just came from there. When I can, when I'm not working, then I go to class. So to me, it's not like, I mean, yes, I'm so excited that I don't have to press the snooze button, in the morning, that I get up and do what I love doing. I mean, like this morning, I went, oh my gosh, I'm going to see you guys today, and that's neat. That's great for me. But I've never looked at it. Okay, well now you're there. See, I don't see it that way, because and we're all in this together. And times are hard now, and times are crazy.
Yeah, the industry has changed a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kate, you're creeping up on 2,600 episodes of Y&R. That's insane. Absolutely insane.
That's how many I've done? I don't even know.
You're just under that, close to that.
Oh my gosh.
That's just, so whenever we have someone on, we talk about, and then they talk about when they were on a soap or whatever, I'm always way too long-winded, and I'll avoid it now, about the respect that soap opera actors deserve. The pages per day.
Yeah.
Insane. Do you remember Esther's first storyline?
Well, I remember it was a trial or something, and I remember having to say my name is Esther Valentine, and that was a big thing for me, and of course my character did it wrong or something, so that kind of thing. But also probably one of the major things was giving birth on the show to my daughter, and and I was so nervous about that. I'd never given birth in real life, so to do that on camera was something I will never forget.
Yeah, I'm sure. What were some of the wild storylines?
Well, I was kidnapped. I was kidnapped twice. Once with my boss. We were kidnapped together, and also my character's pregnant, so wearing the maid's uniform with the being pregnant, that was the whole thing. So, and now I have 2 jobs. I'm the manager of Crimson Lights, a coffee house, and I'm also the receptionist at Chancellor, and I have my daughter who has. So I'm a grandmother too, because she has kids. So
you're looking at the show. You read some of the people who got jump starts on Young and the Restless, like Tom Selleck, David Hasselhoff, Ava Longoria. So who are some of the more memorable guest stars for you, and any good behind the scenes stories with any of them?
Well, I mean, I worked with Eva. I did work with her, so I've known her. I mean, it's interesting, Moosie, and Moosie, you said this too. The amount of pages that you have to do. We do 60 to 80 pages a day, and you get one take. If they have to, that's why when people put down soap, or actors, it makes me crazy because we've had people come on our show, that are big film people, and they go, wait a minute, don't we get to do this again? Go, no,
Yeah, you do a film or you get on a show, like a single camera film, whatever show, any kind of cop show or whatever. You might do a page and a half a day.
Right. That's
Wow.
all you do. That's right. Yeah, because I did actually this film, A Little White Lie, which is out now
Yeah,
with Kate Hudson
we were
and
talking
Don
about that. Yeah,
Johnson. Yeah, Michael Shannon. So that's fun. But yeah, they do a couple pages a day, and they're going, oh no, we haven't. I'm going, hey, try 60 page. Excuse me. Yeah.
yeah.
How about for you? Do you have any favorite like episodes or storylines involving Esther?
Well, yeah. I mean, definitely giving birth was one of them that I will never forget. And being kidnapped. I was married several times. One time I was married to my character was married. Us didn't trust the guy who was married, so she hired an actor to play the minister. So I wasn't really married, So things like that.
Yeah.
It was just fun, and one time getting to wear some of my boss's, clothes and jewels and things because we had a whole thing where I was supposed to be her, and she and her husband were pretending to be the maid and the butler, and I was pretending to be her. It was this whole storyline. That was a whole lot of fun. I really really enjoyed that.
Well, I also want to ask about a couple of the other things that you've done because you were in this fun film Hysteria with Jonathan Pryce also as one of the people in it. It's a movie more people should discover because it really was a lot of fun. What are your memories of working on that film?
Oh my gosh, that was amazing because it was in England. I
Oh
had to go
wow.
to
Okay, yeah.
London for that. It was an amazing experience, and I so loved doing it. I had once again, a small part. I mean, I've always treated my whole career like this because since, starting as Esther, not being anybody, I've always treated my career. I'll do, a smaller thing, because you just don't know. You don't know what's.
You mentioned Mother's Day, Garry Marshall's
Yeah,
last film, I believe, and it starred
yeah,
Jennifer Aniston, Kate Hudson, Jason Sudeikis, Julia Roberts.
yeah.
What was it like working on that film? What was Gary like to work with?
Oh, Gary was amazing, and once, once you did a Gary worked with him, and if he liked you,
Hmm.
that was a really good thing. And I fortunately, had the opportunity to work with him. And then once again, I took that role. It was a very small role, but I thought to be able to work with him and to do that would, be great. And unfortunately, he passed away, soon after that.
Yeah.
So I didn't, because he was already talking to me about something else he was going to do. You know, he was an amazing, amazing man, amazing director, and I so enjoyed
Everyone has
doing that.
great things to say
Yeah,
about Gary Marshall.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely,
And you
definitely.
you had also mentioned a little white lie again with Kate Hudson, also
Yeah.
Zach Braff and Don Johnson. So can you tell us about that one?
Oh well, that one just came out. Well, that was interesting because I played a president of a college, and so right before the pandemic, actually, I was in the bank and I saw some of the crew. They were in there too. I don't know how that happened, but anyway. And I was going to have my last day was going to be the next day. I was working, and and they said, "Oh, Kate, we're going for coffee in the morning. What do you want?" I said, "Oh, really?" So yeah, okay. So I gave them my order. I never saw them again because that night everything shut down. The pandemic happened and all production stopped. So I went, oh, well, this is really good. But anyway, we finally did get to finish it. So it is out now. It's on all the platforms. And I really enjoyed doing that. I play because it's a very different role from Esther. And it was great.
I saw you once in a play called Desperately Seeking Love, and you were amazing in it. And theater's a tough thing. What was it? Was the director a big pain in the butt to work with? Usually they are, you know.
No, the director was the best. If my performance was good at all, it was because of him. And I would love to work with him again. And I think you know him because it was you.
We are going to do another. We are going to do another show together. We are. We always talk about that every time we see each other, and we definitely will. You guys, Kate was so touching and real and so good in this show. Made my job a whole lot easier. But it was called Desperately Seeking Love, and we had a great cast. And Ryan Paul James wrote this show, and there they are. There's our little.
Oh, that's so
program.
cool.
Yeah, there's Keith Coogan and Ryan Paul James, and you, of course, covering our guest of honor here. Melissa Disney and Heidi Cox and all them. So, anyway, I just
Well,
want to say that
I love theater. That's how I started. And boy, right away if the audience is with you or not. It's so different from TV or film because you don't know.
Absolutely.
You know right then. But Desperately Seeking Love was a fabulous show, and it was, well, I don't know if we want to go into what it was about, but this woman lost her husband, and the interesting thing is that my husband had passed away not long before, I did this show. So, and I was so fortunate to be able to work with you, Moosie.
Thank you. It was really, it's right here in my house when we rehearsed or on the stage at the theater is when we actually became much, much closer.
Definitely.
So her character, you guys really paralleled what she was going through in real life. And so many actors would steer clear of that. And she faced it straight on. In fact, we changed the name of her character's late husband to Ron, which is the name of her real life late husband. You were so brave. Everyone was just not a dry eye in the house. For people who didn't know Kate, not a dry eye, but for those of all the friends and the support you get in theater, all the people that do know what Kate had been going through, it was just like, because, I could see the audience when you guys aren't looking at the audience. You're in your performances.
Thank you for telling me that, because you should be in the moment and you shouldn't be looking at what the audience is doing. So don't know really what's going on.
Of course. Oh, Kate, here's something I didn't know, which is why I love that we're doing this. You raced in the Toyota Celebrity Grand Prix.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the one in Long Beach?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Tell me.
Well, first of all, I'm glad I never asked you for a ride to rehearsal. I never needed one.
So they asked me, it was the 20th anniversary, I think, of the race. And so they decided to have some people that had never done the race before. And then they decided to have some people from daytime, from Sosa, so they asked me. And I said, oh, well, gosh, how am I going to do this? But they put you through race car driving school. So I thought, okay, well, I can do this. So I did that. And they teach you things like to hold your line. You have to go straight on the streets because the other race cars are coming behind you and they're going around you kind of thing. And I'll never forget when we were on the streets and we were practicing. It was before the race, and they had the real race car drivers on there too. And I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna get my whole thing on this. My whole objective was to live through it, to not get killed. I didn't care about winning. I just wanted to live, and I wanted to finished the race. And I was really, I'll never forget, I can still see my car. And it had number 7. I was number 7. And I finished the race and I didn't even have a scratch on my car. Oh my God. So I was coming up and someone went in front of me, went into the wall. And so I thought, oh, wait a minute. He went into the wall. I better back up so he could. I'll go, wait a minute. This is a race. I'm not doing that. I just went around him, and that's another uniform. I don't know. There's something about me
in your uniforms.
I don't know.
I'm just so impressed about that. I had no idea that you were in that race. Anyway.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, you've had so many great experiences. I was looking, you've done appearances for the USO,
yes,
going overseas to entertain the troops. But how did you get involved in that? And what was that like? Was it very rewarding? Were they very, appreciative?
Well, I've done 4 USO tours. I've been to all the stands, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, all the stands. I've been to Korea, Guantanamo Bay, and this was, actually done through Johnny Grant asked me to do this. And so we did meet and greets, and we did them at Thanksgiving. And the interesting thing is that I had to get permission from the show because it's in your contract, which I didn't even know at that time, that you aren't allowed to go into a war zone. So it was during Thanksgiving. I'll never, ever forget this either. It was amazing because on one of the stops we made, they came to me and they said, there is a young woman. She's standing guard at the guard gate. She can't come in for dinner. It's her shift, so she's going to miss Thanksgiving. And she's a big fan. Would you mind if we took you up there to see her? And I said, of course not. I went there, and I don't know who got more out of all this, her or me, because it meant so much to me that to see, she was so happy, and she didn't even get to go eat. She was working, she didn't get to have dinner, she didn't get to have anything. And just the fact that, I would, tell her and thank her for what she did. And then I'm in Korea, one of the times that when I was in Korea, they were able to call home and, put their wives on the phone or, who were fans. And so I stayed till, I will stay till the last person. So I was able to talk to them, and there were some scary times. We were going from base to base, and they have this thing called combat takeoff and landings. So they go up like this so that the missiles can't find them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going by lifter, this thing, So, it was something because it meant so much that we would take to them. But like I said, I think I got more out of it. It was Thanksgiving. It was emotional because I wasn't with my family. I remember they would let me call home so I could talk to my parents on Thanksgiving. But yet I could be there for all these people. And because it's because of them that you and I, the 3 of us, can be here doing this show right now. I was at the DMZ, and you're standing there, and you're looking across, and they're looking at you, and they could come across at any time. This is I'll never forget this. And there's loudspeakers all over, and the propaganda. I don't know what. I can't understand what they're saying, which is a good thing. Like when I went in the prison, I'm really glad I couldn't understand what they were saying because I know they weren't saying nice things to me. But it's just really the men and women, and it doesn't matter if you're for the war, not for the war. It doesn't matter any of that. It's just because of all of them. Like I said, I am for all of them because they're the ones that are allowing us to do what we do.
Yeah.
They might have been saying, welcome, Kate Linder. We're big fans.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Although names are the one thing that they would say that we'd understand. Okay. So it's not that your heart is big enough. You're also a spokesperson for ALS, right? Can you talk about that? How can people get involved?
Well, I became involved because, Well, my brother-in-law had ALS. I mean, I'll never forget when he was diagnosed. Now we found out, and there was Zaslow. I think he was on Guiding Light. The actor had ALS, but I didn't really know a whole lot about it. But once I started getting involved, it's a horrific disease because their mind works perfectly well. I mean, better than any of us put together, and yet nothing else works. I can't do anything else, and there's not a cure. I watched my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and even after when he passed away, I thought this is something I will keep going because until there is a cure, because this is just a horrific disease. And there was one gentleman that was on the border at ALS, and I always use what he said. He said, it doesn't matter how many breaths you take in this lifetime, but rather what you do with those breaths. So I said, I will take every breath I have to keep fighting for this. It's
Wise
a terrible,
words.
terrible disease. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the ice bucket. They did the ice bucket challenge, and I actually did that on my star, which was wild because there was a bus, tour bus was stopping right there. I thought, well, this will be a good place to do it.
Oh, you did it on the Walk of Fame star on your that's hilarious.
I challenge all of you to join me and to donate.
And so, but people can get involved. They can there's different chapters and easy to find. And they welcome anything, no matter how little, how big. Yeah.
I was looking at your accolades, and there's just one after another. It's like you've also been the daytime governor of the Academy of Television and Arts and Sciences.
I was governor for daytime for 4 years, and now I'm governor for all the performers.
Oh, wow.
So I came back as governor again. So I'm in my second term. You're allowed to do 2 terms, and then you have to step out. So after this year, I have 1 more year. And I am honored to do that because I'm for, we're part of the Television Academy, and I'm for everyone working together and mingling there's different peer groups. So there's a director's peer group, writer's peer group, science and technology, hair and makeup, all these different peer groups. And my whole thing is to try to blend them all so that this is how we can all help each other. So it is, we're not paid. But I'm really happy that I'm able to help and once again, be able to give back. So.
The Young and the Restless has been on, a couple of years ago, it celebrated its 50th anniversary. You've been on for 40 years. So looking back at your time there, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you just think of your time on the show?
Well, yeah, I'm here 43 years and counting. And I remember my first day, like I told you guys, like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing experience, and I love every single minute of it. And I'm hoping it goes for another, Well, I'm hoping, I'm there they're going to have to drag me out of there. Is the thing, So I love what I do. And like I said, I am able to, it allows me the opportunity to give back, and that makes me very happy. I just finished an event it was the charity called After Breast Cancer in Toronto. And we do this every year. I've done for 25 years, started in Vancouver and actually Victoria. I bring up Young and the Restless cast members, and we do these teas, and that was kind of interesting because I used to do there was this man, his name is Robin West, and I used to do events for him in Canada. And one day we were having breakfast, and all these people were coming up to me, and he does a lot with the Canucks and the hockey teams and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, I don't believe this. I am with famous hockey players, no one comes up to them. No, what is this? Everyone's, coming up to you. I said, because Young and the Restless is an amazing show. It's the #1 show. And in Canada, it's on twice a day. So they get today's today's show, and then they see tomorrow's show. So they see the show before we even see it. Oh. So I said, if you want to do something for charity, you should do something with that. So he looked at me and he goes, okay, well, if it was your event, what would you do? And right away I said, oh man, I know exactly what I would do. I would do a tea, because my characters serve tea. So I said I would do these teas, and I would keep it very classy, not people screaming and yelling. I mean, a very classy event. And that's how it started. He said, you're on. And the first one we did was in Victoria. Now I just finished, we did Victoria, and then Vancouver, we did a lot. And then I started doing them also for the March of Dimes in Canada. And we did a lot in Calgary and Toronto. And now I just did this one for this other charity after breast cancer in Toronto. It took several people up for my show. And we raised almost $50,000. And, these are for women that won't be able to, they may have to have mastectomies or different things and can't afford that or whatever. And this will help them to move forward. So that makes me really happy.
That's good. So this is the question that people find most important. How can people follow you on social media?
Okay, well, if you go to www.katelinder.com, it's all right there. You just have to click on it, click on all the things. But I'm on all the platforms. I'm on Twitter. I mean, I'm on TikTok as well, though I haven't been on there as long, so that's probably not on there. But and you'll be able to see my Sunday messages. They're on Instagram, and that's probably the easiest way, is in my website, and see things that are going on.
And Kate, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Well, I'm honored to be with you guys. You guys are both extremely talented, and I'm thrilled to be included with you guys. And thank you for having me. It means
Absolutely.
a great
We
deal.
will. I will see you. I will be seeing you soon, I'm sure.
Okay. I look forward.
And I'll hear about it.
Yeah, I'll send Jonathan pictures. But Jonathan's going to sign us off to make it official.
Okay.
Well, again, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Moosie Drier. And again, a very special thanks to Kate Linder. And please like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast. Listening to this podcast just makes you really cool.